Hey guys, and welcome back to Ghost Trick. We've learnt a lot over the course of the first chapter. We lost our memory. We saved a redhead from dying by literally altering her fate. And we've even come across the person who ordered the hit on her. So let's see where things go from here.
We learned a lot of things, but could we learn to appreciate the immeasurable damage that we've caused to the timeline? To the cohesion of time and history.
Well, Ghost Trick is very forgiving when it comes to stable timelines and such, and it's more of a factor than you might realise. But for now, let's learn a little bit about our antagonists, ? Why would you hire a person called nearsighted like Jigo, especially to be a hitman and whatnot? Surely you'd want someone with perfect eyesight.
Well, yes, but the whole point of him is that because he's nearsighted, he's very good with a shotgun. It's just he can't shoot anything further away than said shotgun. So I suppose you'd send him in for certain jobs and not for others.
I just send the dude on the right to do everything. He seems like a guy who can get shit done.
He's also incredibly conspicuous, so if he was trying to be a hitman, he'd probably get noticed.
I mean, the strapping cape, it's a big red flag. Just right there, pinned to your back.
Yeah, and also, as we all know, no capes.
No capes. So yeah, these guys are very clearly assassins, and the redhead woman was one of their targets. I wish we'd learned her name. I could just say it, but I'm trying to reveal things in story order, you know. And ooh, that file looks particularly spicy. So once we get control, I'm gonna ghost trick my way over there.
Yes.
As you're one to do in the ghost world, ghost things, ghost errands.
I don't think we got there quick enough, and I'm not entirely sure if we're going to be able to open that as is. I'm not sure how strong our protagonist is. Oh, never mind. Shut my mouth.
Yes.
It's kind of weird that he is the folder, but he's like, I can't read it because it's closed. But it's like, but you are the notebook. You should know what your contents are, right?
I know. I was thinking that.
He's the notebook, not the piece of paper, though, and the game doesn't really distinguish them as two things. Okay, the redhead's name is Lynn, so there you go.
Yes, and thank God we can just call her Lynn now, because otherwise it's been a nightmare.
Could you imagine us just going through an entire playthrough, just coming up with nicknames for a character because they never established their name?
Yeah, probably would have called her Cherry or something.
Well, I mean, there are actually a number of games out there with characters that are just never named. I can't think of any at present, but I know that they do exist.
Oh,
and there are also films and stuff that exist. I mean, I think that film Mother that came out recently.
Richie, you're on a tangent again, my friend. And
not the one.
I go on tangents. It's fine.
See, nothing says a hedonistic lifestyle like just picking some grapes from your flippable table that the floor can flip for you. This is great. I love it. These guys know how to live in style.
This goddamn gilded room with all its tech and whatnot, and this is a clear example of the Ghost Trick devs loving their art, because this is one of the rooms in the game that really shows off how animated Ghost Trick is. I actually forget how they achieved this art style. Richie called it sprites, but I could have sworn it was like models that were painted over or something.
It is something very much like that. Where the frick is that information? I know that there is somewhere very specific explanation of the art style. Let me see if I can find it.
It's us, and we're pretty. Oh no!
They're after our booty.
He rates, a 5 on the bootyometer. Yes, and this is where we learn our name. Mr. Richie giving the name away before it appears on screen.
I tried not to.
Everyone knows a good Let's Player keeps the spoilers for when they appear on screen, alright?
There you
We
go.
feign ignorance.
music is so fucking good in this game. I could just spend every part gushing about the music and the art, but the story itself deserves a lot of praise as well. Like, it's only chapter 2, and we've already learned our name. What else will we learn? Keep watching and you'll find out.
Well, we can learn about how the art style was created. So, basically, the 2D style used in the game was used as a result of Shutakumi's boredom with three-dimensional graphics, but as it was only by chance that he was able to succeed in creating such visuals, due to finding the right staff for the job. The first thing that was made with this style was a scene of a girl eating a donut while a dog is running beside her, which was what fully convinced him to use that style. And basically, when designing characters, Takumi ensures that his characters present a good silhouette, and if the silhouette isn't memorable, then the character's design won't leave an impression on players. And he thinks that's particularly true for Ghost Trick, since it was all about small figures moving around. During the process of creating this style, Takumi noted the limitations that become apparent when trying to do it in 3D, but he wanted the game to have like really smooth animation. And so he used a process wherein he made 3D polygons and then rendered them and the motions of the characters as 2D sprites. So basically what you're looking at is, yeah, painted over 3D models that are now sprites.
Nice.
It's just really cool. He also noted that instead of doing motion capture, all of the character designs were done by hand, discussing how each character is both realistic and yet features their own quirks, something which you just couldn't do with motion capture. And something else that Takumi noted was that having full control over the character's actions, well, basically you had full control over the character's actions, such as there's a scene mentioned by Joystick somewhere, I think in this interview, of a girl backing into a fence and glancing quickly at it.
Yeah.
And I think in that same interview, he gave criticism to some Western games' visual styles, describing them as broad versus what he described as a level of sensitivity for nuances the Japanese people have. And might be a bit controversial, but when you look at quite a lot of contemporary Western games, they do all have the same look. This was certainly very much the case in the 2010s when Ghost Trick came out. It still sort of is, because you're sort of looking at it and everything is using Unreal Engine 4 and everything looks very similar. But we are getting better in general at that. I think globalization is making everyone realise having a good art style actually goes down very well with people.
See, the thing I took from that too, that you mentioned, was everyone having distinct profiles, and they do, like, just these two characters. The guy with his big eyebrows and the big nose, and the other guy with those spikes coming out the back of his head and that half helmet. Yep. Everyone does have really striking profiles. And you're right, even just this character who's supposed to be generic, you know, sharp. The hat has pointed edges, the nose, his ears, his chin, all very super pointy. Yeah, I get it. I see it there. That's so cool.
And even though he is a generic bad guy, the generic bad guys have their own look, and as we will see later, there are a bunch of other characters that are replicated, so to speak, but each one, if you just looked at the silhouette, you'd be able to tell what their character type was.
Yes.
And then if they look similar to another character, then the way that they're differed is in how they act. And those actions are generally so different that you can tell them apart very easily.
Jeez, this banter is very Shutakume, I gotta say. It's like Phoenix and Maya quibbling over whether it's a ladder or a step ladder in the Ace Attorney games.
I think you'll find it's actually a stool.
That I hear that was the big twist in the latest Ace Attorney game. Actually threw everyone for a loop.
I like the new Ace Attorney. I'm weird like that, where I actually think Apollo Justice is a cool character. Even though I'm getting kind of sick and tired of Capcom throwing backstories at him and seeing which ones stick. This dude has gotten 3 fucking backstories and only like 1 matters.
Oh, right. Because I've only played, like, Apollo Justice in terms of, like, Apollo-centric games. I've started the first 3DS game. I have both the 3DS ones since there was a sale at the time, but I didn't feel like playing it, to be honest. I'm a huge fan of the first 3 Ace Attorneys, but when they went to 3D, less so with Layton. I feel that besides, you know, the first 3D one, it did okay. I don't think it did Ace Attorney as many favours. And I'm biased here, I will admit, I haven't played them, I'm definitely going to. But, yeah, I think losing Shu Takumi, I'm not sure whether he came back or not, he's not listed in this, you know, IMDb thing or whatever I've got here, but, yeah, his lack of writing was a loss, I think.
For some reason I have the feeling, I'm just going to double check it, but I think he came back for Ace Attorney 6. I'm just double checking that fact.
Aww. Alright guys, so this is... I don't know if I can handle a game with a dead dog in it. Like, that's... I need a warning for things like that.
Oh, yeah, Mexi loves his dogs, and when we see just exactly what and who this dog is, some of you Ace Attorney fans out there may be able to recognise him. I'm not sure he's the same character, but he's very similar, and at the very least a shout out.
He's good enough. He's a good boy.
One step ahead bloke sitting on the settee waiting for Len to come home, he was already a bad guy. You know, it's been established that blue people are evil, the fucking racist writers of this game, but they made it stand out even more by having him kill a pet. You know, that's the way you establish pure sociopathic evil and stuff like this. It's shorthand, it's a little bit lazy, but it works. I'm not going to argue that it doesn't work.
And also, to be fair, him killing the dog means we get to meet the dog. And the dog is awesome, and therefore, while obviously he's a monster, because he shouldn't have killed the dog, he's given us, like, the best character in all of Ghost Trick. So, really, clearly he knew what he was doing. He thought, well, I'll give these people what they wanted, i.e. the best character in the game.
He may be one step ahead, but he's not that savvy. There he is!
Dougie!
Ah!
It's a fucking Pomeranian!
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, there was a Pomeranian in the Ace Attorney games as well, and we'll get his name shortly, but it's also the same name of the dog in... There we go, it's Missile! It's Missile, the Pomeranian!
I know! Oh, he's amazing!
Based on Shu Takumi's dog, obviously.
Yeah, his real dog, which is just... Oh, it's just amazing!
Like, no joke, if I ever made video games, I would put my dogs in all my video games.
Why wouldn't you? It would be a way to honour them forever. And Missile, like, he's a little bit obnoxious, but only in the way that dogs can be lovably so. But he is one of the best characters in the game.
He's a fucking dog, of course. He's obnoxious. That's how they are.
Man's best friend, but need to tone it down a little bit. But in the meantime, let's go back in time and save Missile's life.
And I had to say, I very much prefer Ghost Trick Missile to Ace Attorney Missile, largely because the Ace Attorney Missile is a Shiba Inu, and while it's adorable, Pomeranian Missile is just like the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah, and also the Ace Attorney one doesn't fucking talk and have ghost powers.
This is true, but let's just say Missile here doesn't have ghost powers yet. Like, not even yet doesn't have any at all.
He doesn't even have thumbs, dude.
Exactly, like what are you expecting a little ghost doggy to do?
Oh, that's my Ghost Trick / stand power. I can grow thumbs, but I can't use them because I don't have the dexterity knowledge.
See, this is my stand. It's a dog. What does it do? Depend reality? Makes everything taste like cheese? No, it just like sits there and looks adorable.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea for a stand. I made my own friend, and then my parents made me give him up to foster home for imaginary friends.
Aww, but it does lead into Foster's Home, so I approve of this fanfic crossover. I will just have to type this into Google's.
Yeah, you ever think about how Frankie wears, like, the same clothes as Madame Foster?
Yup.
Hmm.
Yup. I'm well versed in the research of the true nature of Frankie Foster.
Oh, we're not gonna get into that fucking Saint Elsewhere shit. Okay, one step ahead, Fuckadoodle is gonna come home soon, so we should probably try and get Camilla, the lass in the scene, out of harm's way before he breaks down the door.
No, our main priority is to make sure that Missile doesn't die.
Well, we can do two things.
But I'm just saying, if we can only do one, we know which character has priority.
Oh, a really interesting, quotation mark, supporting character here, if just for the fact that she's very, very animated.
I thought you were about to say she's anime. It's like, they're all pretty anime. This girl has pink hair.
Well, I said animated, not anime, but yeah, you're right about this girl being anime. How does the hair even work?
Well, I mean, this lady has got, like, bright pink hair, so, I mean, like, which one do you want to go for? The lilac or the bright pink?
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. And if this game wasn't any better, it takes place at Christmas. Look at that shit.
It's a Christmas game, guys. This is up there with Die Hard and Gremlins in terms of things you should enjoy around Christmas time.
Exactly.
I mean, they're evergreen titles already. You can enjoy them at any time of the year, and you get about the same amount of satisfaction. But there's something to be said about watching certain films at certain times of the year that just enhances them. You know what I mean? Very nearly fell in the fish tank there, and
You don't want to do that, okay? Beats by Dre are really expensive, and if you drop that shit into your fish tank, well, that's on you.
I mean, to be fair, what stupid person would put their very expensive headphones above the fish tank? I mean, like, seriously? Put that shit in a drawer if you're gonna put it anywhere.
I can't actually see any fish in the tank, so it's just a tank of water for some reason.
It's called interior design.
Fine. I'll just assume they're ghost fish. It's the right type of game. Oh, home intruder.
I heard none of it because I'm listening to Disney radio.
Oh yeah, now that's what I call Disney.
Miss Camilla here is clearly related to nearsighted Gigo because the fact that she can't see this guy is beyond me.
Oh, nasty. And that always surprises me because it goes farther than you might think. Like, there's no blood for the most part during Ghost Trick, but people do die violently, and it always takes me by surprise because you wouldn't think it just looking at the game.
Everything's just so cute.
Yes, the death is absolutely adorable.
That shit's kawaii.
Play dead, Missile. Play dead. Good boy.
A plus.
I think the reason that Ghost Trick does such a good job with... obviously it does darkness in terms of the way its characters die and are murdered, but it has got this rather cutesy art style. But I think the reason that it manages to pull it all off so well is because it all comes across as being incredibly sincere.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you've got this slightly cute / suave art style, and you've got this kind of smooth talking, funny script, and then you've got the kind of violence and horror, because it's all put together in a place of sincerity, it feels like it all works together.
It does, yeah.
So obviously what you can end up with sometimes in quite a lot of horror stuff is that they go very hard on the horror and the gore, and then they completely lose out on in terms of the plots and the characters and the visual work.
The heart, yeah.
And they don't feel very sincere at all. They just feel, oh, you just wanted to kill a whole bunch of people, and that's fine. There is a place for that, but it just doesn't work so well because, yeah, things always come across better when there is heart in it, even if you're brutally murdering people in various ways.
That to me has always been one thing about the Ace Attorney games. I feel like a lot of people just seem to gloss over is that the very first case involves someone being murdered by blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
People get impaled. People get severely shot. I mean, just people die violently in Ace Attorney games, but it's just, haha, I want a burger. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually kind of have to take the reins here, because this is one of those puzzles that is very timed. Make sure you get to the folding umbrella, and wait for the headphones to shake, and then trick the umbrella. Boom.
Oh.
There were a few instances in this particular chapter where, let's just say, the timed occurrences made us have to do numerous retakes.
No.
I think it drove both of us slightly insane.
Well, to be fair, this is it's a pretty easygoing game for the most part. Like, I'm using the circle pad instead of my stylus, because, when you know it, right before we start recording, my stylus went walkabouts, but apart from me flipping between objects too much, it's a pretty easygoing game in terms of, like, inputs and such. It's just the timing, and I've never been very good with timing.
That's one thing about the movement in this game, is that you only move by it when you're in your ghost form and drawing a line from dot to dot. That's sort of one thing that allows the character models to look how they are, because even though they're very pretty, there's not a lot of detail in their outline, and that kind of helps let them do those smooth animations. But say you had to actually like move that character with precise movement, it wouldn't really work. Like, it would be pretty difficult. So having just, you know, the line from spot to spot, you know, helps the game keep its style.
I agree completely, mate. I was just having a bit of fun there. The donuts are over here, don't question it. We are the donut table. We move where we please.
And now we're invading your Christmas.
Oh, this Santa ornament. Oh, it's a nightmare.
Oh yeah. Just follow along, do exactly as we do, don't question it, we are following an FAQ. Yeah, this is an example of a timing puzzle, and yeah, you may be able to freeze time whenever you want. It doesn't mean it's going to automatically get you where you need to be every time.
As we go along, there are more and more puzzles which rely on you jumping to something at the right time, and things like that, yeah, they can be pretty difficult, because you can pause and it can be the other side, no, pause again, and obviously you kind of have to keep doing that, and obviously time still ticks when you are waiting for things to move around, so you do just have to be so on the ball with things. There's a reasonable amount of leeway.
Yes.
But it's not that large, especially in some of the later chapters.
Alright, we gotta get Camilla and Missile both under that thing before one step ahead Fuckadoodle comes home. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting his actual name, but I remember his title, that's for sure. So yeah, if we knock the donut underneath the settee, Camilla and Missile will follow. Well, Missile will go first, but Camilla will look for him, and that's what we're angling for here.
You know, this apartment is really well furnished. You think they would be willing to, you know, scrounge some cash for an exterminator or some mouse traps. I mean, this apartment is kind of infested. It's really gross.
There's only two. There's only two of them, you know. I wouldn't really call that an infestation. That's more like a couple.
Well, I mean, considering one was blue and one was pink, it very well might have been a couple, but really, two mice or rats? Oh, that's not okay. Let's put it that way.
It's really not.
Like, one is too many in a house. Two is like, oh god, no, I'm gonna have to burn everything.
I'm just gonna chill here and wait for my target to come home. Yeah, got nothing better to do. I have to question the logic of him using a sniper rifle for such up-close and personal stuff, but the man knows what he's doing, and he's dedicated. You know, he's got motivation, he wants to make it to the top of the Assassin's Guild.
I feel like the big bad here is assigning his henchmen to the wrong tasks. He should have assigned the sniper to the assassin job and assigned the shotgun dude to the job that was going to take place in these close quarters apartments. Like, you know, this could have went really differently.
They're both assassins, but I get what you're saying, yeah.
You know, I'm starting to see the flaw already. I think our protagonist may have an unfair advantage other than, you know, time travel.
Yeah. Just literally, I'm dealing with morons here. I'm surrounded by assholes.
See, that would be kind of a neat game. Just a puzzle game where you're a ghost, but you find out that the living are just... They're as big an idiots as you thought they were when you were alive. Only worse.
So, not only did we save Camilla, we also saved Missile, so he's back to life now.
Yay!
There is now more good in the world than there was before.
Oh yes, the future did indeed change. This ain't no Chrono Trigger shit. This is a much more hopeful bent on, you know, changing fate and whatnot.
Fucking Chrono Trigger. I've been playing Radiant Historia, and it's just making me realize that there were a lot of time travel games on the DS. Like, were we going through a phase or something?
Probably. I mean, gaming does tend to do that. I mean, I think it was 2013, which was the year of the bow?
Oh yeah.
Like, every game under the sun had a bow and arrow. Was that the same year that there was the boat era? Because I know there was another period where there were just loads of boats in games.
Don't recall the boat, but it's kind of funny that Breath of the Wild was included in the 2013 Year of the Bow, and it didn't come out until 2016.
You mean 2017?
Well, that just shows me fucking up my history. I think someone's been altering with my timeline.
It's okay, I still haven't played it. I'm gonna wait to buy a Switch, then I can play it, then I can gush.
Both of you get a Switch, both of you get Breath of the Wild, you will love it.
Well, you know, we have other Zeldas to do first. We've already picked one out for, I think, Christmas at the time we upload this, and I'm looking forward to that. I've really got to find my stylus. I'll say no more.
Ho, ho, ho. Okay, the whole red thing also reminds me of another DS game, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor.
Oh yeah.
Just because that game also chose red for its theme color, and even though they're completely unrelated, it also reminds me of Persona 5. Completely unrelated, but just the red theme almost makes them seem similar.
Color theming is a way to make your game much more memorable. Like, obviously, Pokemon had each town be, you know, a different color, and they're even named after colors. Like, you had Cerulean City, Lavender Town, you know, Viridian City, etc.
Cinnabar. Cinnabar took me a while.
Granted, that was a stylistic choice. It wasn't something that ran throughout the whole game, but you know what I'm talking about. And they took it out in fucking Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Well, yeah, but you see, that was because of technical limitations in a way, because the original Game Boy Color couldn't really do that many colours.
Whatevs.
I'm just saying, Richie, towns named after colors are better than towns named after cloud types.
This is very true. I do agree.
Was that Gen 4 by any chance?
I think that was black and white, actually.
I think it was as well, yeah, because... No, I can't remember any of the towns from black and white. Oh, that's really bad.
There's like Striaton. It's the only one I remember.
Well, I have no idea what the fuck just happened, but we're safe, Missile.
Everyone's alive, except the fish that were in the fish tank, the rats that we employed to move the donut, and yes, the donuts are dead as well. Good ending?
Good boy, Missile. Attack the phone! Yah!
Yeah, although I have to say, the headphones are dead, so have we really won?
Damn it, now we have to possess them and go back in time 4 minutes.
See, that's what I was saying. It would have been hilarious after that first mission where chapter 2 is, okay, now that you've saved the girl, let's redo this entire situation, but save both of them.
Okay, let's get on over to that phone. This is I'm not entirely sure if it's timed, but the music certainly seems to imply that it's important we get over there lickety-split. So yeah, let's trick our way over there. And take note of Missile's new golden core. That will also come in handy later on.
Well, I think we might actually be going to that core before we go to the phone, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, the game basically forces you to try and possess a living thing.
Theme of Missile, yes!
I totally forgot about this track. All I ever tend to remember is the main theme and the, oh shit, things got real theme, which are both genius, but I completely forgot that there's a Missile theme. It's, it's the Maya's theme.
Yep. My favourite track, besides the credits theme, like the main theme is great, the credits theme kicks it up a notch, is called Trauma, and I'm not entirely sure if that appears until, like, the middle of the game, because it's when things start to get pretty dire. Huh. So, when we brought him back to life, he retained memories of being dead?
So he had an actual legit near life or near death experience. He saw the white light. Pretty much, yeah.
And I think the thing about this that's quite cool is that obviously it means that even though, we're time travelling, it means people retain the memories of that time travelling. So, yeah, the people in this universe are going to be incredibly messed up. Because, like, seriously, if you remember dying, that's going to be pretty horrible.
You know what, I've praised the writing for the game, and this is not a deal breaker, nor do I even find it a negative, but that's one thing they do kind of gloss over. Like, it probably won't come as a surprise to you that Lynn here ends up dying a lot. That's not a spoiler, it's just something that happens throughout the game, and eventually it just leads to, haha, I died again!
It's pretty much, yeah.
It's one of the funniest
But to be
fucking
fair,
parts.
that's very in keeping with Lynn's character, as we will see.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I would just remember the intense pain of being peppered by a shotgun at point-blank range.
Well, I mean, at that point, wouldn't you die almost instantly if it hits your vital organs?
You'll still get that. I'm sure you feel something right before, and you'll always have that. Remember that pain, probably like as a phantom pain or some shit. There should be Ghost Trick 2 therapy session.
No. I actually don't want a sequel to Ghost Trick. I think it's perfect as is. It's one of those self-contained games with a what-if sort of bent at the end, but never gets a sequel, and I think it should remain that way.
I have to say I do agree. If they were ever going to do another Ghost Trick, I don't think it's going to happen. Because while it was the best-selling DS game in Japan during its release week, it then sort of started to go downhill in terms of how much it had sold, and Capcom listed it as a contributor to the low sales of its first quarter of its 2010 fiscal year, so it didn't do phenomenally well, so it's probably never going to come back. But if they were going to do a sequel, I feel they should take the anthology game type route.
Oh, right, yeah.
Of have the same gameplay style, but go for a completely different set of characters and do it that way, because I think that's the only way that you can really get around it.
See, I agree, but I feel like they tried to do that already with Apollo Justice, and they showed that they just can't pull a series away from, like, its first main character. So I feel like they would, if they were to do it and they were to try to do a new main character, it'd still be like Cecil's Shadow for no good reason or another.
That's true, but then you have the whole thing of Nick had 3 games to develop and grow, and so did Maya and Edgeworth before Apollo Justice came along, so there was a much longer period of time in which people got attached to those characters before they were ripped away from them, whereas Cecil and everyone in this game has only had the 1 game. But I do totally see where you're coming from, and I do agree that probably, considering Capcom's track record with sequels dealing with different sets of characters, I wouldn't be the most hopeful in the world.
Alright, you stay here, Missile. Protect the donuts. Let nothing else fall into that watery abyss. We come back and just all the donuts are drowned, each with their own individual golden core.
Now we have to Ghost Trick to save every donut.
Ugh, let nothing stay dead. Still no peace for the little lady, and the redhead Lynn is facing a new crisis right now as well, attacked by a pigeon. Yep, we're gonna have to find a way out of this apartment that doesn't involve the phone, so maybe the adjacent apartment can help us out? Maybe. Just maybe.
I'm sure they have a phone, so we should be fine.
Well, let's hope that lady doesn't destroy us when we get Missile to help us out with the barking. We'll see you next time for more Ghost Trick.